I went back to ballet class this week, and not only did I do one ballet class, I actually did 2 ballet classes, and I think we need to sit down and talk about it. Let's talk about my journey, the most overused word on YouTube, but my journey back to ballet. How exciting. This past week, I took 2 separate ballet classes. I took one on Tuesday morning, and then I just took one on Thursday evening after work. And I have a lot of thoughts, obviously, and I have a lot of feelings. And if you have no idea why I have so many thoughts and so many feelings, and you're new to my channel, I'm Goldie. Nice to meet you. I'm so glad you're here. Let me give you like the Spark Notes version of the past 4 years. I decided to leave my company, made a contract at the start of 2020, and then COVID happened. When I left my company, I never planned on not dancing. I was planning on auditioning. I actually did go on a couple of auditions right after I left, and then the world shut down. No one was dancing unless you were dancing in your living room, and I just like could not do that at all. Like, not interested. When someone asks me if I regret leaving or if I miss ballet and all of those questions, how I feel about it, I always say COVID and quarantine was the biggest blessing in disguise for me. Without it, I probably would have kept dancing, and I probably would have auditioned and gone to another company and just continued the same path that I've done my whole life, because that's usually what happens. You just continue what you're doing. Quarantine gave me the opportunity to sit back and ask myself, am I dancing because I love it and I'm happy, or am I dancing because this is the thing I've always done and I don't know what I want to do after? And that was a really scary question, and I probably wouldn't have been brave enough to ask myself that without quarantine. I don't think I was the only dancer that felt that way. When you are a ballet dancer, especially a professional ballet dancer, you have no time to make those decisions or those thoughts. You are on a track and you're training and you're in season and you're doing your performances and you're cross training or auditioning. It's just what your life is. You don't really have a second to like take a step back and say, wait, do I still like it? Do I still want to continue? And COVID was the first time that I actually had that opportunity to ask myself those questions. I'm so grateful that I had that time, because if I was offered a contract post-COVID, I probably would have taken it because it was the easiest option. But now looking back, 4 years later, I'm a full-time ballet teacher. I'm so happy with where I'm at right now, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about making my way back into the world that I left 4 years ago. When I say that I left, like, I have not been to a ballet class. I could probably count on one hand the amount of ballet classes I've taken since leaving. This video is probably gonna feel all over the place because my brain feels all over the place. Every time I try to sit down to do this video, I get sidetracked and I lose my train of thought because I have just so many feelings and so many avenues that I wanna take it. So bear with me. Let's do it together. I've danced my whole life. I started when I was 5. My mother was a dancer. My grandmother was a dancer. Everyone in my family is a performer or is in entertainment. So it truly is in my blood, whether I like it or not. I don't remember a time where I wasn't in ballet class. Again, I'm gonna preface this video by saying I don't regret my life, and I'm so happy that my life was the way that it was. And with that said, when you're 5, you don't really get a choice. I was never the little girl that looked up to my mom and said, I want to be the Sugar Plum Fairy, or I want to be a ballerina. That was not my story, and that's okay. A lot of little ones, when they're 2 or 3 or 4, want the tutus and want to be a ballerina and are so excited about that. Even if they know nothing about it. Obviously they know nothing about it because they're 2. But you get what I'm saying. That wasn't me. And it wasn't me like my whole life. I didn't decide that I wanted to be a professional ballet dancer until I was 16. And mind you, I was still training to be a professional ballet dancer before I was 16, but it wasn't until I was 16 where I chose it for myself and I fell in love with ballet. I think my path was a little bit different than some of my friends, where I was naturally gifted enough to not have to work as hard and get by, and I was successful, and If you're good at something, especially when you're a kid, it feels good. You want to do something that you're good at. And that was kind of ballet for me. I was naturally talented enough to get into some programs, get some scholarships, and it wasn't until I chose for myself that this was what I wanted to do where my career really kicked into gear. That's when I started training in the summers really intensely. I homeschooled, I got a personal trainer, I started eating healthier, and I was determined to become a professional, and I really did fall in love with it. When you are a ballet dancer and you're on that professional track and it's the only thing that you're thinking about, it's really the only thing that you're doing, it's almost like a hyperfixation. It's like the first thing that you think about when you wake up, the last thing you think about when you go to sleep. You're thinking about your rehearsals, your schedule, where are you gonna audition, what are your friends doing, what pointe shoes are you wearing, which leotard am I gonna wear to class next day? Like, it's all of that. When I left ballet, there was a reason why I left ballet, if you know what I mean. I didn't leave it because I still loved it and I just needed a vacation. I left because I was done. I was done mentally. I was done, I would say physically, but I'm really grateful that I haven't really had too many injuries or big moments like that to like take me out, but I needed a break and I didn't know how long that break was gonna be. I didn't really know what I was planning on doing after. The one thing that was clear was that I needed to step away and I needed to not go to a ballet class or be in a ballet company or talk about ballet or think about ballet. Instead of leaving ballet and still having it in my life, I went the complete opposite route. I almost like rejected it. I didn't want to talk about it. I unfollowed all the ballet companies that I was following. I unfollowed a lot of my friends that I used to dance with because I was just so over it. When I started thinking about what I wanted to talk about in this video, I started thinking about all of the hyperfixations that I have currently. And I'm such a person that if I like something or I try something new and I'm obsessed with it, I'll do that thing every single day until I'm sick of it. If I find a workout class that I like, the next month I'm there every single day. If I like a dish at a restaurant, that is the only dish that I will have every time I go to the restaurant, to the point where, actually this is a perfect example. I'm a big Starbucks gal. It's actually a habit that I'm actively trying to break, but every single morning I would get a sausage and cheddar breakfast sandwich from Starbucks. I would get it every day, to the point that I would make myself sick, and then I was so disgusted by that sausage and cheddar that I would switch to a different breakfast sandwich and I would have that one every single day until I was sick of that, and then I would go back to the sausage and cheddar. You're probably sitting here thinking like, why is she talking about a sausage and cheddar sandwich from Starbucks? I'm using it as my analogy for how I feel with ballet. I danced from the age of 5 to 24, I think that math is correct, every day, and then I was sick of it and I was done with it and I was disgusted by it, so I stopped cold turkey. I don't know if that's the healthiest way. I don't know if everyone feels the need to do that, whether or not it's healthy or whether or not it was the smart thing to do or whatever. That's what I decided to do. After I left my ballet company, I wanted to figure out who I was without it. I'm still trying to figure that out today, but another story. I immediately took my hyperfixation that I had on ballet to this newfound discovery mode that I was in. I was so curious to figure out what I actually like to do and who I actually wanted to be and what are my hobbies, what are my thoughts when I don't have rehearsals to think about or choreography. All of this newfound free time, I was trying to figure out how to fill it, and it was really, really important to me. Going back to my training years, I was always the dancer that desperately tried to keep my life as normal as possible. Although I was homeschooled, I still made it to prom. And although I had rehearsals, I still tried to make it to the parties, and I still wanted to go to the football games and go out with my friends, and almost to a point where, looking back now, I probably was overcompensating a lot, because it felt like if I didn't go to the football game or if I didn't go to the party or if I didn't do X, Y, and Z that I thought was so important back then, that I was missing out on my childhood or I was missing out on being normal. And that was really difficult for me. I feel like that is a lot of the reason why I'm so passionate about talking about all of the things that I talk about on my channel now, because as ballet dancers, it's almost impossible to have that balance of achieving all of the things that you want to achieve in ballet while still keeping your social life or your friends at school or going to the football game or the school dances. You're gonna have to make sacrifices. But I fought tooth and nail through it all to keep keep as much normal as I could. Whether that was good or bad, because looking back, like, did I really need to go to the football game so I could talk to the boy that didn't even care about me, even though I was obsessed with him? No. I probably should have just, like, done my homework. Now, I left my ballet company. I have all of this free time. I need to figure out who I am as a person without ballet. And like I mentioned, that hyperfixation. I was so disgusted by ballet and I was so over it that I didn't talk about it. I didn't go to a class, all the things. I started finding new friends to hang out with. I started working at a preschool. I was really living the most normal life I've ever lived in my 24 years up until that point. And I'm so grateful for that time. It was painful and there were a lot of growing pains. There was so much that I had to go through or work through in my brain, and this may sound dramatic, but I really was like learning how to be. And as simple as that sounds, like it was just terrifying because I had no idea what to do. When I was thinking of titles for this video, I almost wanted to title this video like getting back with my ex, because that's kind of how it feels. Like ballet, this idea, has been like the longest relationship I've had with anything or anyone in my entire life. It's been quite the toxic relationship if I'm being honest, and it's the perfect example of like that like fear of rekindling something that you know is toxic but missing it, or being curious about it and you know it's a bad idea but maybe this time will be different and blah 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 blah. I think we've all been there. That's kind of where I'm at today. I took the time. I took 4 years without ballet. I had no one telling me to get to class. I had no rehearsals that I was planning for. I didn't have to stay in shape. The past 4 years, the only person that was making me go to class was me. I think by the amount of classes that I've taken over the past 4 years, it's pretty obvious, or it feels pretty clear to me, that I desperately needed a break from it. Now that I'm 28, oh my god, terrifying. I don't feel that need for the big break anymore. Before we all get carried away, I'm not planning on auditioning. I'm not planning on dancing in a company again. That's not what this video is. But this video is about finding my way back to something that I really love. Finding my way back to it in like a more innocent and playful way. So now that I've kind of walked you through like all of the inner workings of my psyche and my brain and all of the thoughts and feelings that are going through my head at all times, whether or not that makes sense in any way, I have no idea. I'm probably just speaking gibberish, but whatever. Let's talk about how I feel about ballet today. As a 28-year-old full-time ballet teacher, retired ballet dancer, human person in the world. It's so funny because ballet is really having a moment right now. There's ballet corps, there are dancers, or there are people starting ballet in their 20s or starting YouTube channels talking about adult ballet classes in their 30s. They've never danced before, they've always wanted to, and while there are some like silly things about the whole ballet corps trend, some things that I like roll my eyes at, there are so many things that I like love about it. Obviously, I love that ballet is getting popular. I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos of people trying ballet for the first time. I've been inspired by them. I started thinking, every time I watched a YouTube video of someone starting ballet in their 20s or 30s or wherever they were at, I felt envious of their innocence, their approach to ballet class. When I think about ballet class, I think about all of the baggage. I think about all of the memories that I've made inside the studio. I think about my childhood. I think about my teachers. I think about negative moments. I think about positive moments too, but the interesting part about a ballet class is that it almost feels like a sensory overload. The smells, the music, especially if there's like a live pianist playing class, the teacher holding the bar, the marley, the shoes, all of that can bring someone back within an instant. When I went to a ballet class after COVID and the world kind of opened up for the first time, and it was right after leaving my company, I remembered feeling so overwhelmed that like I almost like started like crying in the class. And I don't even know if they were negative tears or happy tears, but it was just like this like overwhelming like emotion that I couldn't control. And it's the combination of the steps and the music and the teachers and the just everything. It takes you back to the last time you were in the studio, or like, you know, your relationship to anything. If you've had a negative experience with something, odds are you're probably not going to want to go back and do the same negative experience again. And that's kind of how I felt about ballet. If you choose to do something as intensely as ballet dancers choose to do ballet, you're gonna have some baggage at the end. But this video isn't a negative video. This video is to highlight how I'm feeling now, because how I'm feeling now is really good and really happy and really excited. And it feels really good to step back into the world that I've known my entire life and almost put on a new set of eyes, or a new set of glasses. I'm now looking at the ballet world, or not even the ballet world, that's separate. I'm now looking at ballet class as innocent and as playful as someone who's just starting it now. And I'm so grateful for that. If I hadn't taken the time away from it for 4 years, or however long it's been, I think it's 4 years, I probably wouldn't feel the way that I'm feeling right now. If you're feeling that way and you're feeling like so burnt out, or you're just like over it and you need to step back and you just have fallen out of love, or whatever your situation may be, maybe it's your sign to take a break. If you need someone to tell you that it's okay, I can be that person for you. It's okay to take a break. It's not going anywhere. It will always be there. I think that was another thing I was scared of. I remembered feeling like once I stopped taking class, the idea of stepping back into a class was like the biggest mountain that I had to climb. You're obviously not gonna be in the same shape as you once were as a ballet dancer. And that was really scary. I didn't wanna go to ballet class out of shape. I didn't wanna feel like a stranger in my own body. And that was probably a big reason why I didn't go for as long as I have. But if you can allow yourself to not really care about all of that and just do it for fun, in the same way that you go to a workout class, or in the same way that you go to a yoga class, why can't you go to a ballet class as innocently as that? And that's kind of how I've tried to switch my thinking. And I think it's really working. I really just took you on a path. I took you through my childhood. I took you through COVID. I took you through my relationship with ballet, how I feel about it, all of the things. I haven't even talked about the 2 classes that I took this week. The 2 classes that I took this week were so nice. I'm trying to take class as therapeutic as possible. I'm really trying to check in with myself, make sure that I'm taking class for the right reason. I sound like I'm on The Bachelor. I'm here for the right reasons, okay? It's really, really easy and tricky that when you're in a class as a ballet dancer, you're trying to be the best in class, or you're trying to go for things that you know that you can do, or get that leg up, and you're comparing yourself to dancers, or whatever your brain is telling you. It's not even comparing yourself to dancers, it's comparing yourself to your own self. So right now, as someone who is taking class again after 4 years of not taking class, my biggest obstacle, or like who I'm comparing myself to, is not the person next to me, because the person next to me is gorge. They're killing it. I like can't even look over because I'm too consumed within my own brain. But I'm comparing myself to my professional ballet self. Now I'm in class, I think my leg is high, it feels like it's high, and then I take a peek in the mirror and I'm like, oh my god, it's at 45 degrees. And things that were like super easy for me in my professional career, I like can barely do now. I have no stamina. My turnout is like scary and hurts. There are so many things that don't look too pretty these days. My arabesque isn't that high anymore, and I loved my arabesque. My pirouettes aren't as impressive. I'm not doing 4 pirouettes or even triple pirouettes. I'm doing a clean double. I'm gonna take my clean double because it feels good. I think like those are the reasons why ballet dancers have a hard time going to ballet class in an innocent way. And I know I keep repeating myself, but that is my mantra in class. This is innocent. It should be fun. It should be all of the things that we forget that it should be when we're in a company. It's really interesting because after my class on Tuesday, I started talking with the teacher, and he is this incredible dancer, had an incredible career at these major companies, and I don't think he follows me. I don't think he watches my YouTube videos, but it's almost as if he was saying exactly how I feel about ballet. He was just saying how much he loved ballet and how much he loved performing, how much he misses that, but unfortunately that's like 2% of a ballet career. The other 98% is shitty. Like, to put it as simple as possible. You're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with choreographers, you're dealing with stupid rehearsals and stupid ballets and stupid political bullshit that doesn't matter. And then you get on stage and you feel that and you're like, Okay, this is why I do it. Makes all of the other stuff feel a little less shitty, more manageable. But then the sad reality of that, it only lasts for 20 minutes or an hour when you're performing, and then you're back to the bullshit. And it's such a bummer. And that's what I kept saying to him when he was talking to me, because when you're in those like mid-sized companies and you're looking at the San Francisco ballets in the world, you have this feeling of, if I just get to that level, it'll feel better. Or if I just make it to this company, or if I just get this role, or if I just get promoted, it will all of a sudden be great. And all of my issues will be solved. And the biggest bummer is that it just isn't true. And I was looking at him and I was listening to him, and I just looked at him. I was like, it's such a bummer, because we all love it. We all love performing. To be honest, I love class. And what messed up my class and what messed up my feelings toward ballet wasn't me necessarily. It was all the bullshit around it. And now that I don't have any of the bullshit around it, I'm not in a company, I don't have any of the politics, and I am paying my money to go to this class and enjoy it for an hour and a half. That's all I have. It is liberating. So in conclusion, how am I gonna wrap this video up? I really took you on a journey. I'm not auditioning for a company. I am not going to be in ballet class every single day, and knowing me, I'm probably gonna fall off and not go to another class for a while. But what I actually want to do is to try to find my way back and rediscover my relationship with ballet and make it make sense for where I'm at today at 28, living in Boston as a ballet teacher. Because my relationship to ballet now at 28 does not need to be the same relationship I had with it at 16. And that is awesome, because I get to make the choices, and I get to decide when I go to class. I get to decide what to wear to class, and I get to decide if I want to do that combination again, or if I don't want to do that combination again, or I want to wear my sweatshirt for the whole class, or I want to keep my sweats on, or I want to wear socks for class. There were so many times in a company that I would get in trouble for wearing socks at bar. And now I don't have to deal with that, and that is really, really good. So if you are a ballet dancer that hasn't been in class for a while, or you're taking a break, or you're starting ballet for the first time and you've stumbled across this video, this is your sign to take your ballet class for you and do it in an innocent and playful way. Before I talk for another 30 minutes, I'm gonna wrap it up here. And is this video exactly how I thought it was gonna be? No, it's kind of like a mini therapy session, and hopefully you relate to it a little. I don't know where you're at in your journey, or you're normal and you've never taken a ballet class, or you are a professional, or you're retired, or please tell me where you're at. Comment below or send me a DM. I would love to connect with you and go through it together, because ballet is hard and it's easier when we do it together. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I was really excited to sit down and talk with you guys, and stay tuned. Who knows, maybe we'll go to another class next week and then we can talk again after that one. See you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.